Hello everybody, and today we are having the day number 2 and today we are having the day 2 of our knowing the world with wonder questions. So we're going to know the world with wonder questions with core concepts, and we have already started. Yesterday we started with the Big Bang and very briefly the prehistory. So there was a whole universe which came, and the galaxies and the stars filled the excuse me, space, and we had this solar system, and we had the Earth, and we have this Earth now. So we see the present world now. We see a huge world, and what do we see in this world? We see a lot of things. People living together, big cities, governments, countries, science, technology, religious beliefs, tensions, conflicts. The whole complex world is the result of all that which happened in the past, and it is actually not that difficult to know exactly, broadly, what the world is. And history is a very addictive subject, because if you know history, it's like you are gaining some kind of a power of sight, because you are able to understand anything. The whole world, you are able to hold it. And if you understand science, then it goes deeper, and you can understand man also in the way he can be, his power. So the combo of history and knowing science and maths is like a, what should I say, Superman feeling you get. Really, that's why people become so addictive if the people who go into these studies, So then the rest don't matter. So there are two ways of living, maybe. One in which we do live with jobs, but there's another way of living, to live with passion, and that comes from this kind of a holistic understanding. And that is what is the school syllabus supposed to be. But again, I told you, it's a common experience to go to the school, again grow up, and then again come back, revisit. So this course is actually very good for parents also. Those who are at home, maybe most of the women, men, all of them, they could learn again, or maybe fine tune, or learn a little bit from me with a little I know. Today we see man now. Now let's go back in history like a movie. Like we see man, and he's there, the naked man, and the early man, and it's 50,000 BC. 50,000 BC, almost like 52,000 years back around. And what is this man? Is he doing agriculture? No. Does he know what he is fully? No. Does he have any idea? What idea would a man have? Imagine you are a man and you don't know anything, and you are hungry. So what will you do? You will eat from the things around you, all the vegetation, even kill animals and eat. So the first thing about man is that he used tools, and he was a food gatherer, and he was in a group. Because man is weak. Physically, man is actually weak. Mentally, he might be strong, but physically, he is very weak. That time, he was really weak because he was not even very mentally strong. He had no ideas. So they stuck in groups. I can imagine, you can imagine how they stuck in groups to feel secure, and if there are in the places where there's a lot of animals, then they could stay for a while. If not, they had to move on. So he was part in one place and part nomad. Moving. So that kind of moving instinct is there in man to find out food and to survive. So these are the core things. The tools also. One interesting thing about early man is certain tools were naturally sharpened. So he got the first idea that you can actually make tools. So there is evidence that they made tools, a variety of tools. Axes and sharp edges to chop meat, and to crushers like things. So wherever they could manipulate the tool, that much of technology was there with in the what is called the Paleolithic age. So that is the Stone Age, Old Stone Age or Paleolithic age. And one interesting thing is they have found evidence that in caves where he was inside, he would make, and it was very dark inside, so he would make pictures. So I'm sure my artist friends will know why he would make pictures. Now, why should somebody make pictures? There's no need for that. There is a need to make pictures. That's the first indication that there is something more in man than just eating, because he has to survive by expressing his inner thing. So obviously pictures were of dead animals or animals being killed. So because his whole desire was fulfillment, or desire fulfillment was to have food and feel secure and happy, his desire, his imagination, let's say his fantasy, got converted into art. And when he did it, he found a sense of experiencing the fulfillment of and the pleasure of doing art. So that is a very fascinating thing, that even at the earliest man, you find there is technology, you find that he's in a group, see, you find that they wanted food and they were working for it, you find artistic expressions. How is it different from today's world? So man was still man, but his tools had a limited application, but those seeds of man flowering had started then. Now years passed, decades passed, long time passed, very long time actually, and somewhere around 10,000 BC, slowly man came to understand that he must have observed the first scientist or few scientists. And it's interesting that all over the world it was found at the same time. That shows a commonality between men. So man found that grain could be planted. And initially it was shift agriculture, like he used to plant in one place, and it used to become unplantable after some time, and then he used to go to another land. And slowly he found out that you can actually fertilize with manure. So then the technology became deeper, almost like today's world. And he also domesticated animals. So this is like our villages of today. Then you can guess, he found out that milk, he observed. Also, when he tamed animals, he could observe them. And after observing animals, he found out that he could actually get milk from cows and goats, and he could get meat, and he could store, he had to store, and population increased. See how the world is growing. And then came the big inventions, clothing and pottery and wheel. Wheel came later. There was clothing. He understood how to weave, and that we can see in a later section of the invention exactly how it works. But the clothing he understood. Pottery he understood. He used the wheel for pottery also, so you know how they make the pots. So, and here he also had an aesthetic sense. So they made a lot of kind of jewelry kind of thing with stones and everything. So there was a lot of those things also, jewelry, especially women. So maybe women are more in need of that kind of a thing. And they lived in community. So community required chiefs, and one interesting thing is, nobody told them, there was no prophet then, but men felt afraid of this world. Even today we feel afraid of this world. Somewhere inside, the early man instinct in us, we can never lose that. The primitive instinct that we are in nature, and the nature is merciless. Right now corona is happening and we are all inside the house, almost like the early man stage, in a way. Though maybe it is overemphasized. But still nature, the state of nature is always there. So that fear leads to some kind of a belief that there must be some protector. And they used to have what is called totems. So this is the standard core concepts, facts about the Paleolithic age. And I've explained it more in terms of man, keeping man as the center. So he had totems of animals. And that time there was a belief that animals are also kind of God, or not God, something to revere, something to pray. And they believe that after death, they are still there to help you. And they had mother goddess. There are many statues of women goddess, so women as a protector, women as a nurturer. That kind of ideas were there. Some kind of a religious belief where they used to have totems like this, and used to have these huge stones kept like that, and they used to revere them, they used to worship them. And then you had the wheel. Final invention was the wheel, and the wheel actually did a lot of change later. This whole community, you have to understand that this whole community which came all around the world over a long period of time. Here to understand time, 10,000 BC to 5,000 BC is 5,000 years of living all over the world. Obviously, what will happen? Population will increase, they'll become more smarter, they'll have more time to think, they'll get ideas about, each region will develop their own connectivity from village to village. Slowly and gradually, stepwise, the biggest thing happened in the world, and that was civilizations, especially along the river valleys, long big rivers. like Nile, like Indus. So you had the Indus Valley civilization, Huanghu, the Chinese civilization. These are all ancient civilizations which came around 5,000 years back. Tigris, Euphrates, the twin rivers where you had the Mesopotamian, Sumerian civilization. So these civilizations had their own distinctive form of large scale organization, which we see today. So see, we already have traveled a certain distance. So those people who can ask the wonder questions. What are the wonder questions? How did man come from there till here? He's already come till 5000 BC. And when the productivity is improved by various other inventions. So as you can see, one thing which you should understand is when they made in the Neolithic age, the stone implements were more fine-tuned. That's why they're called New Stone Age. But after that, there was a discovery of bronze and copper and then iron. Now, what happens when you discover these metals is, metal is very strong. It can be used to cut forests, to make lands, to be used in such a way that the productivity increases. When the productivity increases, the power in the mind increases. You can do more. When you want to do more, then more organization is needed, more wealth, more prosperity. So these are the core things like prosperity, wealth, growth, ascent, prosperity, growth, wealth in every way. Writing, okay, organization, invention of money. Yeah, that's a huge invention. So the invention of money becomes very important. Because the invention of money makes it so easy to, barter more easily than barter, literal barter. So you can use that money, connectivity increases, more people's specialization. So there's another concept. These are very core concepts. These are not small concepts. These are not small concepts. These are very deep concepts which actually turn a civilization. See, wheel turns, fire turns, agriculture turns. Stone implements turn a civilization. Copper, bronze and iron turn because they're used to cut forests, make more lands. Manure, understanding that fertilizing can be done with manure turns. Then you can make transportation. I forgot. Transportation is one more very big reason. And using carts and using things to till the land. What are all these? What is technology really? This is almost exhausting the technology. What is technology really? Money is also a technology. Organization is technology. Writing is technology because you can keep records. Calendar is a technology. Mapping out the certain places technology. Anything which man. So as you can see, man is clearly different from animals. He started with only wanting food. But see where he has reached in 5,000 years. It took 5,000 years. Actually, if you leave that after Neolithic age, 5,000 years for man to have large-scale organizations. And that's when you had these kings. So the earliest form of ruling a country or a place or an empire, there were no countries actually, frankly. There were empires, so a civilization, was through a central authority. There was taxation and there was also the fear. Now, this is the good side I'm talked about. Now, there's a bad side to man, obviously, where people want to do theft of other places, want to rule other places. So, and then there's a deeper inquiry into what is the law. So, the laws come in, see now. So, man is, let's pause here for a moment. Man is growing towards what? He starts with technology, he starts with organization, he starts with law, he starts inquiry. See? It's natural. That's how we should live. Here there was a community. Definitely there was a chief there who kept rules. Rules are important. Laws are important. You can see the real world now. Rules, laws, technology growing, giving more power, harnessing the technology. Okay. But in the evolution of man, you have to also understand that beliefs come in. Because without beliefs, man can't hold his empire. Beliefs can be very coercive. Beliefs can be very, leading to slavery. Beliefs can be something like differences between somebody who's ruling and somebody who's wanting to be ruled. That's why deep inside we have this domination and, being dominated. And religious beliefs are also a big factor. So you can almost see the whole history of it, almost a finished history in terms of core concepts. These core concepts only keep getting reinforced in a more and more complicated way as as technology grows. And another very big factor is art and aesthetic enjoyment and dressing. So the whole enjoyment of life, along with the whole conflicts between people and things, conflicts between beliefs, comes in like a drama, like a story. So that is the in the next tomorrow's class, we will go deeper into each of these ancient civilizations. Maybe we'll cover 2 tomorrow or maybe 4 tomorrow. So this is the whole journey of man. I repeat, I'll just revise once again. Paleolithic age, so that you don't have to actually remember it. There's nothing to remember. Obviously, man cannot start with knowing everything. He has to go stepwise and see how slow it was. First, he had the tools. He saw from nature and learnt a little bit and made his own man-made. He cut it, made it sharp. Different kinds of implements, stone implements he made. He was a food gatherer. He wanted to be in a group. See, here itself he got this group instinct. That's why we are so social. He got the group instinct much before even villages came, you can imagine. And then art expressions. Inside, man is coming. And he got speech. Speech came very early, because why did all this happen to man? Man's nature is what? Man's nature is that he can think, he can get ideas. Not everybody, but one idea can lead to work, energy, flow. See, all this energy, work, flow, thinking is actually the nature of man and men. Then organization comes in. Organization is a big thing in history and politics actually. So you have religious beliefs which also were there. And then in the Neolithic age, why did the Neolithic age come? Because at that time, there's another reason also, there are some environmental reasons also. When the ice age, there was an ice age, and when it receded, then the forests could be used, and the implements became, man got ideas about how to use better implements. Man got the idea of domesticating animals. Man got the idea, biggest idea, that the grain could be planted and you could harvest. Then he had to create many other things. Division of labor. Once he got leisure, then other people could work on other things like pottery, like clothing and weaving. So the whole community life, as we see in many places even today, especially in India, you go to a very remote village, it'd be like something like Neolithic age only. Nothing much has changed in a way. It's earlier than you think, as they say. So then domestication of animals led to food. One more simple thing only. See small things, but they're very deep. To hunt an animal and to keep an animal, later kill it and use it for meat are two totally different things. This is organization. That is just chance. So this is also a kind of invention, to have your cattle, your goats and your cows, sheep, and use some animals to kill other animals, things like that. So storing of grain so that you can live a more peaceful life. When you lead a peaceful life, then the happiness increases, energy increases, desire for entertainment increases. Sometimes desire to rule others increases, adventurous increases. Man is not only a security seeking animal, he is also an adventurous animal. That is obvious. So once you have all these things over a long period of time, beside huge rivers where it was very fertile land, it is obviously very effective and efficient. And then came the invention of copper, bronze and iron, and these actually they are almost called these ages, like copper age, iron age. They use such words in history. But each of these inventions increases the power of man. And then along the huge rivers, Nile and Indus and Tigris, Euphrates, you had these civilizations, where again laws had to be written, writing was invented, many more things were done. These things will go for greater detail in the next class. And that completes the class today. Today what we have understood is that the core concepts we have learned, and last class we'll once again revise about the Big Bang. We'll revise both the classes. In the Big Bang we understood about the gravity. We understood that hydrogen was formed and filled the space. We understood that it's moving and the gravity made the stars, the disk of the solar system, the center where there's a sun, and the planets were formed, rotating and revolving, and how according to the layers were formed because of the heat, and how the heat went down, it's still liquid inside, the crust was formed, life came into existence, evolution of man, early man, and Neolithic age, and these are the core concepts. So that completes our class today. If there are any questions, you can ask now, or you can put the questions in your comments. We can answer directly. If you have any other doubts, you can ask there only. In the next class, we'll be going for ancient civilizations. So we'll be covering the 4 great civilizations. Indus Valley civilization, which was in India, which is very surprising because it was very urban. So you can imagine from the Neolithic age, a very urban civilization came into it, and it went away. And again, we had almost like a rural civilization. So these are amazing facts of history. Then beside the Nile, we had the Egyptian civilization, very famous. You have all these pyramids and sphinxes and pharaohs and very, very peculiar beliefs in each civilization, which is not surprising because in every civilization at that time, the whole cultural influences, what you have to understand is these all go together. Again, I repeat, technology, man's energy to create technology, man's energy to organize for more efficiency, man's need to live a community life, man's need to organize, man's need to have laws, man's need to have happiness, man's need to have aesthetics, enjoyment, entertainment, man's need to barter, man's need to live together with ease and comfort and security. Also negative instincts of man to rule others, and to counter that, to have an army. See, so you have this whole organization. This is the complexity of any empire, any country today in the today's present world. That is the complexity we deal with. And you can imagine from 5000 BC to 2020 AD, many things have happened, but all on these lines only. Deeper inquiry into what is life, thinking, philosophy, science, what is happening. There's a lot of science and a lot of observations which happen in the civilization, which we'll see in tomorrow's class. But see, the man's curiosity to discover the whole physical world more and more and more and more. Today we are able to map every shop through Google, every shop, every inch of the planet. Today we are able to go to the moon, and today we are also having wars. We have had recently World War I and II and so many other wars. Cold War, and not only the Cold War, we have had so many wars. Every country is in a tension. So man's negative instincts, man's sticking to beliefs, man's fanaticism, man's vulnerability of his nature. See, this is what we learn from history. You get a deeper understanding as you go on. If you really know all these facts properly, the facts which are laid out in the textbook but properly understood as concepts, you can see the whole world, the present world at a glance by looking at the past. And interesting thing is, you can see the future also. You can get the lessons from history. You can also get one lesson that if you don't learn from history, you repeat history. So that's very interesting. So man's ignorance is also a factor, really. You will say, okay, man understood so much, then he should have lived happily ever after. Happily ever after has not yet come. Happily ever after is the whole journey of history. Happily ever after will come when we truly become happy, and we truly become happy, frankly, when we blast the ignorance of men, if not man. There could be lakhs of people who are educated. Millions and billions of people are not educated as yet, because now you can understand we are still in the process of history. That is why we are actually taking this course, to make you understand. Some people say, why is the world like this? The world is like this because it is very recent, and these are the events which happened in the past. If you don't understand history, I don't know how you can understand and accept the world as it is. You will find it very horrifying in some respects, and you will also find it very bewilderingly wonderful in some respects. You will wonder how so much of technology and so much of beauty, so much of large scale things have come. You will not able to hold it. You will be seeing the world too close. You will not be able to have a bird's eye view, which is why we are starting from history, because history is the wonder. In fact, history keeps you in touch with the wonder of the world. It's always early. It's always nature. It's always a state of nature. Nature never changes. Nature is nature only. In fact, my argument against this lockdown is that, or half against, I can't be fully against, but half against is, it is always a state of nature. Man has to be more creative, and that's what again we are learning now. In the coming months, definitely man will rise again. He'll learn more and more techniques. There'll be up and down and up and down. As an historian, it's not very surprising to me what all happens in the world. It is not very surprising. It's not so shocking. These are the things only a historian can tell you. He knows what's happening in the world. He knows the world. He knows it will take a long time still ahead for man to find that happily ever after existence together. But we have come a very great distance. Which distance, how we came to the distance, we'll continue tomorrow. Okay? So I think you understood the concepts. I'm not making history more complicated. I'm not giving you too much. I'm trying to share the core concepts, because I know once I open your eyes, you yourself can fine tune your information in every way. Okay? So Arvind, are there any questions there anyway? Okay. So later, anybody who has any questions, they can ask me. Thank you for today. Tomorrow we meet again with ancient civilization, the first large-scale civilization. Very interesting topic. I'll cover Egyptian civilization. What will I cover in that? Again, I'll cover from the aspect of technology, aspect of laws, aspect of how they organized, and even the wars that happened and why they happened and how it died. And then after that will be Greek, Roman, and then the religions come. There's a big story ahead. Thank you.